Right now at 9, a Southeast Kansas sheriff's deputy steps in to help a woman hit by a train. Plus, the Ozark Center's chief administrative officer is appointed to a state commission on autism. And the Alliance of Southwest Missouri gets a helping hand in remodeling their facility.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Chris Warner. A Labette County Sheriff's deputy steps in to save the life of a woman who had been hit by a train. Yesterday, Deputy Gabe Vitt responded to a call that a pedestrian had been hit by a train. When he arrived, he found the woman whose leg had been severed in the incident. Deputy Vitt applied a makeshift tourniquet until more help could arrive. And the victim will survive, and it's thanks to the quick thinking of Deputy Vitt. A Parsons man is arrested on accusations that he sexually assaulted someone. The suspect has not yet been formally charged, but police say the arrest was made after a victim reported the incident at police headquarters. In a statement, Police Chief Robert Spinks said, quote, "Any physical battery is serious, but a sexual battery is an unforgivable crime, and my heart goes out to the victim in this case." The Oklahoma Department of Corrections is working with lawmakers to possibly change state laws so the agency can hire 18 and 19-year-olds to work in state prisons and help address a shortage of nearly 500 workers. Justin Wolf, a spokesman for the Oklahoma Department of Corrections, says that not being able to hire 18 and 19-year-olds is setting the agency back. State Representative Justin Humphrey, who is chair of the Criminal Justice and Corrections Committee, said he was previously against the idea but is now open to it because of concerns over the shortage of correctional officers. It was a much more pleasant day today, still a little chilly, but the sun was out. Nick Kelly.
I know, Chris, it was nice. It would be nice, rather, if Mother Nature gave us some sun over the weekend to help us out with those temperatures, but we'll take it late, better than never. Certainly after we started at 25 this morning, we catapulted back to 51 degrees, back above our normal high of 47 for this time of the year. Not much to show on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, although if we break down the surface map, there is a front parked across the region, but as soon as it starts lifting back to the north tomorrow, you're going to see that result in quite an interesting spread in temperatures. Here's the map I wanted to show you. The cold front will do the trick, dropping us back into the 20s tonight. A good number of you back near 27, but as it lifts back to the north, the southwest wind gets back into action, pushes us back near 51 with partly to mostly sunny skies tomorrow. Chris will break down the rest of the week here in a bit.
All right, Nick, thank you. Kansas officials continue working to speed up the distribution of aid money to people to avoid eviction. The Kansas Housing Resources Corporation says more than 40% of the $169 million allocated to the state program has been given out so far. Roughly 32,000 Kansans have received help, and Kansas isn't in danger of having the federal government reclaim some of the money because the state had distributed at least 30% of the aid by the November deadline. Southwest Missouri children affected by autism now have a local person in their corner at the state level. Ozark Center Chief Administrative Officer Vicki Meisler is now serving on the Missouri Commission on Autism Spectrum Disorders. This Autism Commission is charged with reviewing existing resources, initiatives, and funding, identifying unmet needs or gaps in service or service areas, and creating tangible recommendations for system improvements, including policy, programmatic, legislative, and funding recommendations.
This commission will be looking at best practices in all kinds of areas of the life of someone with autism spectrum disorder. So, you know, it's not just mental health, but education, occupational needs, just everything that occurs in the community.
Meisler is a nationally certified and licensed psychologist with over 30 years of experience in behavioral health. The Alliance of Southwest Missouri's headquarters is getting some financial help in its remodel. The Veterans United Foundation today presented the Alliance with a $52,000 donation. That donation will help the Alliance in phase 3 of its project to renovate the historic building where they operate.
It's going to go towards the inside of our building. Phase 3 will cover the basement, which will help us establish childcare rooms, meeting halls, a commercial kitchen, office spaces, administrative work offices as well that we can lease out to other people who work in the nonprofit sector.
The Alliance is now raising funds for Phase 3. VUF was created through Veterans United Home Loans, with employees donating 1% of their salary. And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Purple Heart recipient and Chief Warrant Officer Bobby McCain served in the Army during Vietnam and was killed in action while he was escorting a reconnaissance mission. His hometown, Garden City, Kansas. And we're proud to recognize Chief Warrant Officer Bobby McCain, tonight's four-state hero. Well, Nick's going to be back with a complete look at that forecast coming up for the Christmas holiday. And later, the Joplin boys are off to a hot start under a first-year head coach. We'll have those details in sports.
Well, it was better late than never after quite a few cloudy days as we wrapped up the weekend. Sure was nice of Mother Nature to give us some blue skies on, believe it or not, our last full day of the fall season. Hard to believe that we kick off the official start of winter tomorrow, but you wouldn't believe it based on where temperatures are going to go down the road. At least right now, we're looking quiet from indigo sky. This has been quiet outside of Seneca, Missouri, all throughout the course of the day, and those clear skies definitely had an impact on temperatures. After a lot of stubborn cloud cover the other day, keeping us in the upper 30s, we dropped back into the mid-20s this morning, and then right around 50, 51 degrees at Joplin Regional officially for this Monday afternoon. Thankfully, we're going to stay on the chilly side of things, above normal for this time of the year, but temperatures don't look bad, at least tomorrow through Thursday, not to mention we're staying dry. I still see us staying quite mild for Christmas Eve and turning a bit chilly again by Christmas Day. So those numbers won't bode well for any white Christmas hopes around here, but sticking with Doug's pattern, I do want to watch the storm system by early next week. It could start off as a few showers late Monday, but depending on how much cold air works in, that could be our next best shot for not only rain, but also some wintry weather to contend with. In the meantime, though, looking quiet at 909 from 7th and Range Line, 37 to Joplin with a light south breeze at 3 miles per hour. We are seeing everybody right now in the mid to upper 30s for the most part, but we're actually seeing some lower 30s, believe it or not, in some of the low-lying areas as you work closer to Green Country and certainly closer to Tulsa in northeast Oklahoma. We are seeing the cool down quite a bit, not just because of a light breeze in place, but believe it or not, we actually have a weak cold front that is parked right on top of the region. In fact, we'll show you that as we widen out the map for you. First, the entire four-state region, at least the view, shows any rain chances today, mainly confined to central and southern parts of Arkansas. Here is the front that's parked on top of the region in question, but it's not going to continue to work on through. In fact, it's going to lift back to the north as we go into tomorrow. And especially once we get this upper level wave passing just to the south and east, that building jet is going to continue to keep temperatures in the 50s for tomorrow, and we'll push that thermostat warmer as we head toward the holiday weekend. In the short term, though, again, we're mostly clear right now. Maybe a little bit of cloud cover trying to build back in a few spots by the time we get to the morning drive tomorrow. But that doesn't change the fact it's going to be a cold start. Most of us dropping back near 27 degrees. But with a little passing cloud cover tomorrow, I should say despite that, a light southwest breeze turns westerly, and that will push us back to 46 by noon, and pretty similar to today. I'm thinking highs topping back out near 51 degrees. Looking on down the road, here is the returning jet lifting on top of the region, if not just to the north. And we're staying quiet for Wednesday and Thursday. This is going to push us into the upper 50s Wednesday, into the 60s almost on Thursday, near 70 for Friday, all because of the quiet setup on the jet here. In fact, let me just show you the official number here for your Christmas Eve. 70 degrees. The record high for Christmas Eve is about 73, set back in 1955. We're going to be close to that number on Friday before we turn chilly for Christmas Day with highs near 56. And again, starting Monday, we'll watch for the next system in Doug's pattern to work on in. But again, hard to believe winter officially starts tomorrow, Chris, with highs near 51, mid-50s Wednesday, near 60 Thursday.
It doesn't look like the official start of winter. It looks more like the official start of spring.
I know. It's like we should not be trending in this direction. I'll just put it that way. I'm a little
we shouldn't, but changes may be on the way. So, Nick, thank you so much. Well, Kansas wildlife experts say there is plenty of trout for local fishermen. Today, Kansas Department of Wildlife restocks rainbow trout supply at Gunn Park in Fort Scott. This lake is stocked with trout every 2 weeks from October 15th to April 15th, which is the end of trout season. A city fishing permit is not required. However, a trout permit is required to fish. There's also a limit of how many you can catch.
Trout, they love the cooler water, higher oxygen levels, and they're much more active. So as the weather gets colder in the wintertime, having trout here provides a better an opportunity for anglers, and these fish are still very active.
As we mentioned, trout season runs from November to April. Coming up.
State and local governments are bracing for a massive COVID-19 surge as cases continue to rise nationwide. I'm Jonathan Seri in Atlanta. I'll have details coming up.
President Biden will not be quarantining after learning he was in close contact with a White House official who has tested positive for the coronavirus. Meantime, the director of the World Health Organization says there is consistent evidence that the Omicron variant is spreading faster than the Delta strain. The U.S. is averaging close to 130,000 new coronavirus cases each day. Reporter Jonathan Seri has the story.
Los Angeles called off its New Year's Eve celebrations, and Rhode Island will reimpose an indoor mask mandate. Broadway musicals Hamilton and Aladdin announced the cancellation of all performances through Christmas due to breakthrough infections. The NFL has postponed several games after 100 players, many of them fully vaccinated, tested positive over the course of 3 days. The National Hockey League has postponed a total of 42 games this season.
When we cancel games or postpone them, it's not because we're trying to interrupt the outbreak the same way. It's because we have to respond to an outbreak that's already happening on our team.
That's it.
Vaccine maker Moderna released new data today showing its current booster shot produces a 37-fold increase in Omicron neutralizing antibodies. Doubling the authorized dose increases antibody levels 83 times. Earlier this month, Pfizer released data showing 3 doses of its vaccine were effective against the variant.
With those who have maximal protection from a vaccination and a boost, you either won't get infected, or if you do get an infection, it will be most likely mild. But if you are unvaccinated, I'm worried about you.
Federal health officials believe vaccines and treatments will allow the U.S. to avoid more lockdowns.
So if I could just see an ID to match with that.
Mandates are a different story. Yale is telling students to get booster shots before spring semester. Tomorrow, Washington, D.C. will reinstate its indoor mask policy. And Boston's mayor announced people will need to show proof of vaccination to enter restaurants and other indoor venues starting January 15, eliciting jeers from protesters.
There is nothing more American than coming together to ensure that we are taking care of each other.
In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
A new study from Germany finds children were responsible for most COVID outbreaks in schools and preschools, but the outbreaks were more severe when an adult was the first identified case. Researchers say wearing a mask significantly lowered secondary cases. With COVID surging again across much of the country, some hospitals and clinics are using creative tactics to encourage child vaccinations. For many kids, the prospect of rolling up a sleeve for a shot comes with a heavy dose of anxiety. But at Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego, the vaccination clinic is bringing in the big dogs. And that's where Lucy, a golden doodle, and Tank, a golden retriever, roam the halls. And they're ready to take on the tears and the fears.
The dogs help the kids relax. They help them feel like they're not at a hospital. I had one little boy tell me today, this is the best day ever. I skipped school and I got to meet Tank and Lucy.
Tank and his owner, Dr. Susan Duthie, both work at the hospital. When she's not volunteering with her pup, Dr. Duthie is a critical care physician in the pediatric ICU. Researchers in Canada looked into why cannabis use seems to be increasing among pregnant women. They found women are using it to manage pregnancy-related symptoms and pre-existing conditions such as nausea and vomiting, as well as insomnia. Just ahead.
New reaction from the White House and Democrats to Senator Joe Manchin's opposition to the Build Back Better bill. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with how Manchin is responding to the criticism coming up.
Democratic lawmakers are trying to figure out their future plans after a major announcement from one of their colleagues. Moderate Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia says he's a no on the president's social spending package. He's also reacting to the criticism he's received after revealing his opposition. Reporter Madeline Rivera has details from Washington.
High drama gripping Democrats in Washington following Senator Joe Manchin's announcement that he's a no on the president's Build Back Better legislation. The moderate Democrat from West Virginia expressed deep concerns about the bill's impact on inflation and the national debt.
I think I still represent the centrist, moderate wing of a Democratic Party that has compassion, but also has reasonability.
He's also responding to criticism from the White House and his fellow Democrats, some of whom called his opposition a betrayal.
I'm not blaming anybody. I knew where they were, and I knew what they could and could not do. They just never realized it because they figure, surely to God we can move one person. Well, guess what? I'm from West Virginia. I'm not from where they're from.
The White House frustrated with the senator's decision.
If we do not act to get this legislation done and the components in it, not only will costs and prices go up for the American people, but also we will see a trajectory in economic growth that is not where we want it to be.
Despite Manchin's opposition, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is considering holding a vote on the nearly $2 trillion bill early next year. Some moderates are still hopeful they can make adjustments to bring Manchin back on board, and they oppose the heavy criticism he is receiving from progressives in their party.
Let's not give up. We have 10 months until the next election.
Leader Schumer also announced that the Senate will consider voting rights legislation when Congress resumes in January. In Washington, Malda Rivera, Fox News.
Still ahead, Santa's reindeer are resting, but that doesn't mean the big man isn't visiting kids. We'll show you how he's getting around next. A local towing company is helping Santa get around before Christmas. You see, Santa's reindeer are resting ahead of the big day, but the old man still wants to say hi to some area kiddos. So, Pearson Towing in Fort Scott is helping him along via one of their tow trucks. He visited a number of sites in Fort Scott today.
A couple of, I don't know, we started just 3 or 4 years ago, and it just come across my mind to do it, and it makes me feel good to see the children smile. Not only do they like Santa Claus, but they love the tow trucks too.
And again, don't worry kids, Santa's sleigh was not repossessed. Well, the Grinch was making the rounds across the state line in Nevada today. Don't worry, this is the good Grinch, the one whose heart grew 3 sizes after learning about the real meaning of Christmas, which, by the way, has nothing to do with ribbons, packages, boxes, or tags.
So you get the good ones, and then you get the ones that they're pretty angry at you. But like I tell the parents, those make great pictures too. So, but yeah, listening to the kids and seeing how excited they are for Christmas, I mean, it kind of takes me back and keeps me young too.
That makes us pretty happy to say Merry Christmas, Mr. Grinch. Well, 5-year-old girl who's been a Children's Miracle Network kid since birth has given back to the organization in a big way. Nora Beechner, with help from her family, managed to raise $400 through the sale of walnuts from the family farm.
When we were picking up walnuts, we were talking about how much money we were going to earn, and it was Nana's idea, hey, let's see if we could partner with Children's Miracle Network and see how much money we can earn for them. So Nora was on board from the minute Nana said that, and been excited to be here ever since.
The family gave the $400 donation to CMN. However, see, her story inspired others in the community to match that donation, and in total, they've been able to raise more than $20,000 so far for the Children's Miracle Network. Guess what? We got 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. And up next, a Missouri woman is charged with endangering the welfare of her newborn more than a year after the child's birth. We'll find out why and what took so long to file charges. And dealing with the consequences of a bus driver shortage. Neosho School District is trying a new approach to getting drivers behind the wheel. Welcome back. An unusual criminal charge against a Springfield area woman. She's accused of endangering the welfare of her child at birth. More than a year after the baby was born, test results came back positive for exposure to meth. Marina Silva reports from Dallas County with more on why it took so long to get the results.
This woman, Crystal Boyd, has been charged with 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a child after lab results show her baby tested positive for methamphetamine.
Deputies responded to a call of a 32-year-old female that had delivered a baby and couldn't pass the placenta.
That was back in October 2020 when her baby was born, but when paramedics got there was no baby.
Now, she'd given birth and believed to be father had hidden the baby at another location.
According to court documents, the believed to be father, Justin Baker, took the baby to a house on Airport Road. When investigators, as well as the Children's Division, got there, they found the baby. Documents reveal a man at the house named Dale Baker said the baby was taken there to keep Children's Services from taking the baby. Boyd has 5 other children.
She had in the past had 5 kids in the past that had been taken custody by the state of Missouri.
Court documents show Boyd did not want to take the baby to the hospital. Eventually, she agreed. Justin Baker did not want to ride in the ambulance with the baby, so one of the investigators took custody of the baby and rode in the ambulance. According to police, once in the ambulance, the baby had low oxygen levels and was eventually diagnosed with pneumonia and had to be admitted to the ICU. So why was there such a gap between then and charges being filed for meth exposure?
Just depending on how busy the lab is, sometimes we wait 6-7 months for some lab results.
Crystal's most recent child before baby June was born in the toilet of her home. She is bonded out of the Dallas County Jail. Neosho School District needs bus drivers. There is a shortage, much like in other industries across the nation, but the district has a plan to try and recruit potential drivers. KOAM photojournalist Derek Kinetic tells us how they're working to eliminate any potential fear of getting behind the wheel.
I was pretty intimidated, but honestly, it's so much easier than I had ever expected. Bus, we have great trainers. They prepared me for everything. Getting on the bus, driving, it's very similar to driving a full-size truck. And so if you've ever driven a Suburban or a full-size truck or anything big like that, it doesn't seem a whole lot different.
And then I started driving and just I fell in love with the kids. It gives you a good purpose. You feel like you are important to them. You're the first one to say good morning to them in the morning and the last one to say good night for the school district.
I'm a fairly new bus driver. I got my license in April, so I've just been at it for about 8 months or so. I genuinely love driving the school bus. That's my favorite part of the job, actually, is being on the bus with the kids, getting to know them. It's pretty rewarding.
Christmas gift givers, listen up. The time to send presents and well wishes to loved ones is now. I mean, like today. Well, some shipping deadlines have passed. There are still a few options. Now, for shipping UPS, you have a December 21st deadline for the 3-day select service when shipping in the United States. And if you're shipping FedEx Express, you can buy yourself some more time with deadlines starting December 21st and ending December 24th for same-day delivery. So unless you want to shell out the big bucks for overnight or rush delivery, you need to get on it. A way to maybe get on it next year. Ford's electric pickup truck. It's not even heading to dealers yet, and it's already sold out all of the available reservations. Ford is closing reservations for its F-150 Lightning electric pickup truck. It has filled all 200,000 slots, and it received more than 40,000 orders for the trucks in the first 2 days it started accepting reservations in May. Ford is now building prototypes of the F-150, and production of models for dealers is expected to begin early next year. Those with orders could start receiving trucks in spring. The truck is expected to start at around $40,000 with a 230-mile cruising range. A little bit later, the Joplin Eagles are playing their first season under a new head coach, and it's going pretty well so far. We'll hear from the team about their hot start.
We have been able to finally warm back up once we finally got the sun back in play across the area, something we could have used for the past few days, but we'll take it. Certainly better late than never. For the time being, though, we're well past sunset now, but still not looking too bad. Clear skies from Indigo Sky Casino Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri, and that's how everybody looks as we continue deep into this Monday night. And I'll tell you what, that sunshine, it made quite a difference with temperatures. We were in the upper 30s. That was the best we could do the other day since the clouds cleared out late. But after we dropped back in the mid-20s this morning, a good jump back near 50. 51 degrees at Joplin Regional this afternoon. I'm going to stay chilly even though the official start of winter is tomorrow. And I have us even warmer going toward the holiday weekend. So we'll break down those numbers again as we roll along. But as far as the numbers right now, not too terrible. 37 in Joplin, the south breeze at about 3 miles per hour. Humidity's coming back up, but it's not too terribly high at 73%. Most of us are in the lower to middle 30s at 9:38 on this Monday night. And we're going to continue to drop temperatures off, even though that breeze is light and we're sitting underneath clear skies. But look at how we've got a southerly wind in our southern counties and a northerly wind elsewhere. That's because, believe it or not, we actually have a front parked right on top of the region. We'll show you that as we start to expand the surface map here. At the first impressions, though, there is a little bit of rain still trying to hold on in central and eastern parts of Arkansas, but it's not due to anything at the surface and certainly not due to the front. Even though it's parked on top of the region, it's actually going to lift back to the north tomorrow, so that's going to ensure that we go from another cold start to another chilly but above normal afternoon. Now let's look at the upper levels. This is why there's rain to the south. A weak upper level low passing just to the south, but as soon as it clears out, the jet will be more than ready to start lifting back on top of the region and north of the region by the time the weekend gets here. So what does that mean in the short term? Well, we're going to keep mostly clear for many of you to start the overnight out. Maybe a little cloud cover for some to start the morning drive out, but it doesn't change the fact that everyone starts cold in the morning as overnight lows drop back near 27 degrees. Even though we'll keep that breeze light, partly to mostly sunny skies back in play for tomorrow, that doesn't change the fact that we'll go back to 46 by noon, and then a lot of us, including Joplin, will top out around 51 degrees tomorrow. Here's the jet by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Starts to lift actually to the north of the region, so we'll go to the mid-50s Wednesday, near 60 on Thursday, and here's the setup for Christmas Eve. A system out west that won't come into play until we get into early next week, but for Christmas Eve, this is partly sunny skies, highs near 70. In fact, let me show you the official number here again. 70 degrees for your Christmas Eve. Keep in mind, we should be in the 40s, and the record high for Christmas Eve will be 73, set back in 1955. So no shot at all for a white Christmas this year, unfortunately. But we'll turn chilly and quiet for Christmas Day with highs near 56. And sticking with Doug's pattern, we'll watch for our next storm system as early as Monday with maybe a few showers late. In the short term, Chris, 51 tomorrow, mid-50s Wednesday, near 60 on Thursday.
I mean, it's not bad in terms of temperatures. It's just not right for this time of year.
Hey, but that means local travel around here for Christmas looking pretty good.
That's true. Nick, thank you so much. Well, coming up in sports, Kansas City Chiefs are all alone at the top of the AFC standings with just 3 weeks to go. Plus, the Pittsburgh girls host a border battle against Webb City. Jacob Leonard's got those highlights and more next.
The Pittsburgh High School girls basketball team hits the floor tonight for an interstate matchup against Webb City. Pittsburgh is aiming for its first win of the season after going 0-4 in the first 2 weeks of the schedule. Now on the other side, Webb City 3-5, looking for back-to-back wins after topping McDonald County last Wednesday. First quarter, Jackie Hall drives and scores. She gets 8 in the first quarter. Other end, though, Kinsey Robbins made shots early for Webb City. 2 threes in the quarter. Robbins scores 7 in the first, finishes with 10, Cards up 5. Second quarter, Hall picks up the loose ball, 3 from the right side. She gets a team-high 16 points for Pittsburgh. Check out the teamwork here for Webb City. Kate Brownfield knocks it away. Izzy Lopez picks it up, gives it up to Mallory Stanley. Cardinals go to break up 28-20, and they would pull away in the second half to win it 59-29. Well, that's not the only interstate matchup on the schedule tonight. In Joplin, the McCauley Warriors welcome in the Galena Bulldogs. On the girls' side, McCauley trying to keep its perfect record intact and start the season 9-0. Kennedy Dury, corner 3 for the Warriors. McCauley leads early in the first quarter. to the second, though. Galena's Raylan Downey has the answer with a corner three of her own. Bulldogs go up 20-10 at halftime. Third quarter now. McCauley tries to stay in it. Kaylee Teeter on the break by herself. Easy two. But Galena closes it out. Look at the move here from Mia Sarwinski. Gets it to go. Galena hands McCauley its first loss of the season, beating the Warriors 53-42. After that one, the 4-0 Galena boys try to stay undefeated against McCauley. Early on, it's Tyler Little working down low, gets it to go. Hadley Price now outside for three for Galena. Bulldogs up 16-3 in the first quarter. This one was all Galena off the miss. It's Zane Turner fighting inside, gets the rebound and the putback. Galena goes on to beat McCauley tonight 63-33. The Joplin Eagles are off to a hot start to the basketball season. Joplin is 7-0 so far in their first season under head coach Bronson Shockey. That includes winning the Carthage Tournament Championship earlier this month. They'll be back on the floor tomorrow night, aiming for an 8-0 start against Parkview. Now here's the team on what's been key to their undefeated start in the first month of the season.
I think it's our chemistry that's been working. Everybody knows each other pretty well, so we all mesh pretty well from football season carrying it into. And then it's just been fun competing, I guess. Everybody just loves the thrill of the game. Everybody loves competing and winning.
It comes down to trust, too, with the chemistry. You know, I trust the guy's going to be there to help, or, you know, I'm going to trust him that if I make this pass to him, he's going to make the right decision. So it adds up.
It's a gradual process, but, like, at one point it clicks, and then everything just starts working like a puzzle. Everything just fits.
The Kansas City Chiefs have placed tight end Travis Kelce, cornerback Charvarius Ward, and kicker Harrison Butker on the COVID list today. Well, that's the bad news. The good news is that the Chiefs are all alone for the top spot in the AFC standings, winning 7 straight heading into Week 16. Kansas City actually controls its own destiny for the #1 seed and a first-round bye in the AFC playoffs because they won and the Patriots and Titans lost over the weekend. They're 1 game up on those 2 teams, 2 games up on Cincinnati. Now, there are 3 games left. If the Chiefs win 2, they clinch the AFC West title. If they win them all, they're no doubt the #1 seed in the AFC playoffs. Kansas City will be at home against the Steelers on Sunday. Finally, a little college bowl action today. Tulsa faces Old Dominion in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. No kidding, this is the opening kickoff of the game. Lamarian James back for the Monarchs. Finds a hole and outruns everybody to the other side of the field. Tulsa's 4th time this season allowing a kickoff return touchdown. Bad start, but the rest of the way, pretty good for Tulsa. Tied at 7, Davis Brin to Josh Johnson. 23-yard touchdown connection. Golden Hurricane in front for the first time. And we'll skip ahead to the 4th. Already 23-10. Brin will find Ethan Hall, this time from 4 yards away. That's enough to put this one out of reach. Tulsa rolls over Old Dominion 30-17. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
U.S. border agents have apprehended a potential terrorist who entered the country illegally last week. The migrant was apparently disguised as a volunteer EMS worker. Tonight, Fox News has new exclusive video as we watch close to 100 illegal immigrants cross the border despite heavy rain and cold temperatures. Fox News correspondent Bill Malugin is in La Jolla, Texas with the latest.
Border Patrol in Yuma, Arizona report they've caught a potential terrorist after he crossed into the U.S. illegally from Mexico. The 21-year-old man from Saudi Arabia has ties to several Yemeni subjects of interest, according to Border Patrol. He was wearing a jacket from the Central Oneida County Volunteer Ambulance Corps in upstate New York. In a phone call, their chief tells us they have no idea who this man is, they have no affiliation with him, and they don't know how he got one of their outdated jackets. Here in the Rio Grande Valley, bad weather and chilly temperatures didn't stop migrants from crossing illegally. Late Sunday afternoon, at least 100 showed up in La Jolla, Texas, a mixture of families and single adults. Many of them shuttled to Border Patrol processing areas in pickup trucks. One Honduran man told us he had just been smuggled across the river by the cartel. We asked him if he paid them.
Well, I had to.
How much?
$3,000.
And in Rio Grande City on Saturday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott officially announced the beginning of construction of the Texas border wall. It's the first time in the history of the country a state is building its own wall.
People aren't making it.
through those steel bars.
Meanwhile, after President Biden canceled all federal wall construction, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of steel already paid for by U.S. taxpayers continues to sit unused at storage locations in the Rio Grande Valley. Governor Abbott says Texas has reached out to the Biden administration about potentially using or purchasing that steel for the Texas wall, but says they have gotten no response.
If they want to be responsible stewards for taxpayer money, they should be providing that material either to the state of Texas or to the contractors who are working with the state of Texas.
And earlier today, we did reach out to the White House to ask them about all of that federal steel that's been left unused out here, but we never heard back. Reporting in La Jolla, Texas, Bill Malugin, Fox News.
We're going to be right back after this. Saving lives and fighting crimes. Everyday heroes are all around us. Plus, you ever wondered how Santa relaxes before the big day? We're going to find out in today's Take a Look at This.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some wear Amazon vests. 19-year-old Lauren Ray was with her dog Max outside when another dog ran up and tried to attack Max. Screaming, she couldn't get away. Stephanie Lotz was delivering packages in the Las Vegas neighborhood when she heard the cries for help and sprang into action. Putting herself in the middle, she was able to shoo the dog away. Ray's family and other local Amazon members praised Lotz for her actions. And if you're wondering what got the agitated dog to stop, it was this pet owner favorite. You're a bad dog! Speaking of stepping into action, this employee must have been fed up with all the recent reports of brazen shoplifters, because when one man tried to steal bottles of expensive wine from a store in Hawaii, Gina Kekuhana refused to let her store be next. Kekuhana wrestled with the would-be thief all the way to the front of the store until she was finally able to rip his backpack off as he ran. HPD says the man was given a warning for trespassing. And finally, ever wondered how Santa relaxes before the big day? By hitting the slopes, of course.
We had about 800 Santas, Mrs. Claus, a couple of Grinches, a few dozen elves, and I think I saw Rudolph out there also, all on the hill.
Eliesca Resort's annual Santa Skis Free event did not disappoint this year, as hundreds of Christmas enthusiasts dressed up from head to toe for a free lift ticket.
It's just more exciting, more festive. Everybody's having a good time, a little more spirit, I think. We're all getting to ride for free and having a blast.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Daryl Forges.
Well, it is our time for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, we're going to leave you with video of a Celtic band performing a rendition of Feliz Navidad in Pittsburgh. Thanks for making us part of your night.